Hello Pisces, it's Jenny here, ready with your June Tarot horoscope. So just going to be pulling a single card for the month of June and seeing what is coming up for you. So the beginning 2/3 of June is going to be Gemini season. And then we have summer solstice. And summer solstice is going to then be kicking off Cancer season. So those are the energies that are going to be present this month. And that was too much. Too many cards flew on the ground. So we're going to get one card for you today. Okay, Pisces, here we go. Okay, we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. So this is the way he looks the right way up. So we have this young man here with a woman in his arms, a little bit of fruit down below here, and she's got like a fish in her hand here. We have this big kind of rainbow of color above with all of these cups and the sorts of flames or steam coming up. It's kind of watery down below here, and it came out upside down like that, okay? So we're going to see what 10 of Cups has to say for you today. 10 of Cups. Intense feelings. This is the card of great emotion and high times. Fire and water unite to form a rainbow. High heaven and low fish begin to move and unite. The red wavy lines indicate how the blood boils and how the pressure in your cups, emotions, has built up. This is the card of great desires and passions coming true, but also of false romanticism and intoxication. How can you have one but avoid the other? 10 cups in a rainbow signify a well-rounded sense of security and the safety that comes from trust. In a negative sense, it signifies a defensive force field, a magnetic shield, or a glass ceiling, which are all hard to penetrate. Any hermetic ideas about life, love, or faith function at best as a sort of hothouse. They provide shelter and warmth, but they keep real life out. They create a force field, but cannot fulfill the essential needs of the individual. The two central figures have been taken from a painting by Giuseppe Bonito and the Three Peaches from the 1638 painting The Five Senses. A wise combination, since all forms of false and harmful passions dull the senses, whereas joyful and wholesome passions are uplifting. It is this deep sensitivity that determines our happiness in high times of great emotion. Practical advice. Don't be afraid of oceanic feelings. This is a perfect opportunity to take a fearless look at powerful and bold passions. The more you learn to assess the degree to which you can truly trust yourself and others, the more secure you will feel. This is a test of your self-awareness and knowledge of human nature. Okay, big feely feels, Pisces, which may be sort of familiar territory for you. So this is an interesting card because a lot of the like intense feelings, lots of emotion. Usually when we think about intensity, lots of emotions bubbling up, often we think of like negative emotions, like anger or fear or like, ooh, that like intensity that just feels like you're overwhelmed. But intense is just the severity or the degree. It doesn't say whether it's good or bad. And so intensity can be like overwhelming joy or excitement or deep passion and love as well. It's just heightened. So that whenever there's a great intensity of emotion, those are basically our peaks, whether those peaks are high or those peaks are low. So whatever it is that's going on this month, it's probably not going to be mundane. It's not going to be boring emotionally because we're dealing with peaks here. But it can go either way. It doesn't have to be good or bad. What is pleasant to experience is usually to have these peaks of pleasant emotional experiences, but that's only half of the biorhythm. And so having the other end of the spectrum of intense, like what feels like negative emotions as well, is just as much a part of a healthy emotional kind of situation here. And if you can recognize emotion and intensity as not being dangerous, like it's saying don't be afraid of oceanic feelings. It can feel like, it's just you're drowning in it and you're trying to swim in it, and it can feel really intimidating. But if you can, enjoy the ride, enjoy this card is also, even though this interpretation from the book often kind of talks about it can be quite intense and that can sound scary, a lot of other interpretations for this card is like the culmination of all the joy in your life. It's like all of there's this ripeness, there's this like harvest, this bounty, and kind of like all of your dreams and blessings coming true. So there can be, but also like we think of that in like a good way, your dreams, your hopes and dreams as this sort of fairy tale ending, but we don't just dream good things. We dream dark things. We dream scary things. We hyper fixate on the things we're afraid of. And so when we say a dream come true, what is it that you have been dreaming up? What is it that you have been focusing on and fixating on? If you've been focusing on experiencing heightened emotion or passion or good things, or you're trying to build in a positive way, then maybe the payout for that work is this like elation and pleasant sort of feeling. But we can also be very, very focused on sadness and anger and bitterness and jealousy, and we dream up all kinds of things where we put our focus on. And so then our payout for those kinds of dreams can be other things. It doesn't have to mean that that's a bad thing. The payout focusing, like, again, fixating on something can go either way. You can be focusing on things that are intense feeling, upset, anger, and actually it might be in your life that you need to be focusing on those things, that actually that those areas of hurt or repression or areas that often a lot of people avoid trying to think about, that's actually what needs to be care and focus on. And so dreaming into looking for the resolution of deep, intense feelings or these troughs of emotional experiences, maybe that's actually a really great opportunity, and that your then payout can be release, or can be integration, or can be some sort of resolution where we don't want to avoid false romanticism, and having this realism and a realistic relationship to all of the peaks and lows of your emotional experiences. Like it's saying, this is a perfect opportunity to take a fearless look at powerful and bold passions, whatever that is. Fearlessly looking at the grand of what is possible in the positive sense, and fearlessly looking at the experiences that bring us down and weigh heavy on us. All of those things, it's shining a light of truth by giving them attention and not trying to avoid them, trying to hide them. Sometimes Pisces, Pisces in general, is a sign that experiences a lot of emotions, and specifically feels like the empathy, it feels emotions of other people. So a lot of your emotional experiences aren't necessarily strictly yours. It can be kind of bleed over from your sensitivity to other people. And so that can be a positive thing. It's helpful for empathy and connecting with other people. It can certainly be an overwhelming thing if there's a lot of intense emotions around you, but it can also be a really positive thing in terms of connecting with the joy of other people. And if you are a strongly empathetic person, it's important to spend time not just around people and their tough emotions that you can carry and hold as well, but to spend time with joyous, buoyant people as well, and gather and feed off and fulfill yourself from that sensitivity you have to joy as well. There's no particular reason why it has to be doom and gloom all the time. And then there becomes this, when you are able to look at and hold with safety the intensities of any experience, the highest and the lowest that we can experience, what then comes from that is a sense of trust in yourself, that you have the capacity to handle it. If you've never gone to an extreme edge, or you've never felt the extreme limit of what you are capable of, you don't actually know where it is. And there can be this belief that, I can't handle it, or, I don't deserve that. Whether it's I can't handle the bad, or I don't deserve the good, this feeling of I don't know what my capacity is, and that's a distrust of the self. But if you can hold and look at and swim in those oceanic feelings of ups and lows, then you get to trust yourself, that that next time you have a belief that, I know I can handle this because I did it already. And that just gives you the safety and to hold yourself in the next sort of wave of things. So that's a bit for this card. So for the season, we're starting with Gemini season, which is an interesting one to pop up with this card. Gemini's an air sign. It's a mutable sign. It's really light. Gemini likes fun and play and not getting bogged down in things. It's like, no, the opposite of the heavy. Gemini is just having fun, life of the party, learning new things and communicating and connecting with people. So Gemini is a very fun energy, very, very buoyant, and typically not really connected with that feeling of like deep, deep emotion. And so in a way, that's kind of like guiding through the possibility of these oceans of feelings being possibly light, having joy to them, having merriment to them. Gemini is like the trickster and the jester. And so there's this reminder that Gemini season brings, which is even if you are in a lot of intensity or heavy emotion, that you can still have fun with it, that you can experience something that seems negative and you don't have to have a negative outlook on it. You can see the joke in it. You can laugh at things, and you can, just sort of see that it's not always going to be this way, or wow, we really take ourselves really seriously. Do we have to do that all the time? So there's this invitation for the first 2/3 of the month to let that Gemini lightness carry you through. It doesn't mean bypass your feelings. Sometimes that could be an issue with Gemini season. It's just, everything's fun. I don't want to think about things that might kill my buzz. And that's maybe like a bit more of an avoidant way to use that energy. But if you are able to like really, really dive into the feelings with that lightness, with that kind of gesture on your shoulder, and not be like bogged down by it, that'll be a really nice way to use that Gemini energy. And then we have solstice in June, I think 21st. Summer solstice, and so that's the peak of light, longest day if you are in the northern hemisphere, or that's the winter solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. So either way, it's a point of the furthest extreme of the light and dark kind of ratios. So even that, we're dealing with these peaks of emotions, high or low, and we'll be dealing with this peak of light and darkness. So there's this amped intensity, whether it's this intensity of the heavy darkness and just kind of shouldering on, or it's this like kind of manic intensity of there's so much light and there's so much buzz, and that is its own intensity too. So there's this like that kind of peak that this emotional sort of hothouse might be reaching its climax at that moment of solstice, or it might not, but you can kind of bring that energy in of this is the peak. And then from there, after solstice, we'll be in Cancer season. And Cancer is a water sign like you, Pisces, and Cancer is very, very into the emotional realm as well. Pisces can be a little broody, Cancer can have a bit of a broody energy to it as well. So if that's one reason why it'll be really nice if you can bring that like light, abundant, silly Gemini energy in and sort of start out with that perspective. And then by the time you get into Cancer season, if you've kind of kept that lightness to it, then Cancer can really like hone in on those emotions and really nurture them. Cancer is the sign of like the mother, the nurturer, like tending and growing seeds. And so whatever sort of insights you may have through this kind of emotional adventure, Cancer is going to be like, okay, I'm going to hold you like a mother, and I'm going to like take care of you, and I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to see what it is that you need, what it is that you want. And it's kind of like a kind of self-mothering yourself, or just tending to yourself. Or it might not all be internal if this experience of emotions, especially if you're picking up on other people's sort of feelings, this then after solstice might be a really nice time to be doing some nurturing to those around you, or to yourself, or to your own projects, whatever it may be. Just kind of bring that love you mother energy in that was ushered in on this like gentle kind of light joking kind of character of Gemini, in order to have this ocean of feelings just be like a rich experience, whether it's diving into the dark or floating on the top. Either way, it can be a really positive experience for you, is sort of what I'm getting at here. So I think if you're going to lean on any particular strength, I would probably, this doesn't necessarily feel like it's something to do in isolation. Even if these are your own feelings, Gemini is this connected season, and there's no particular need to like isolate yourself, especially there's been a lot of isolation in the world the last couple of years, and kind of now for the most part people are like starting to connect again and get comfortable in their communities in whatever way that looks like. And so but it can feel like we might feel like we're kind of lacking on our social skills a little bit. So even if you want to connect, you might feel a little bit awkward or feeling like you're rusty, and you might just sort of feel like, I don't want to bother other people. I've got a lot of emotions, or they just seem to be having fun. I don't want to kill their vibe. I would encourage you to still lean on your community, even if it's a small community. Just, you know, you might, especially once Cancer season rolls around, if you're still feeling a little stuck, you might retreat and not want to reach out. So for the beginning of the month, I'd really highly lean on the connection element of Gemini, and so that you're not too cloistered up. So that's what I'd suggest for you. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that's fine. So again, we had the 10 of Cups came out in reverse. And we've got that kind of, you know, possibility to bring in the light Gemini trickster with you as you explore these peaks and troughs of whatever is coming up for you emotionally. And then we get summer solstice that we can inject some of that solstice energy into the month. So I'll just leave it at that. Best of luck to you, Pisces. Much love. If you are wanting to have a little bit more guidance, at least up until solstice, you can check out on my YouTube channel. There is the Pay What You Can workshop for Gemini season is up as well. So there's a tarot reading, collective tarot reading for Gemini season. There's some good stuff in there too if you want a little bit of guidance there. And again, that's Pay What You Can, so you can check that out. Otherwise, I will see you next month. Take care.